At the mouth of Frostfire Bay, the sea wore iron colors. Morning had not yet chosen whether to bless us or bury us. Two ravens crossed the pale sky like signs written for the brave, and every man aboard grew quiet enough to hear his oath again. From shore while the village fire still trembled behind us. Mother stood like carved grief in the blue of the waking cold. The salt had already entered our beards before the first wave rose, and the mass sang softly like old wood, remembering other dead. I carried my father's knife and my brother's unfinished promise. Both were heavier than iron when the light touched the shields. No one on that deck was innocent of hunger or ambition, but all of us knew the sea was lord before any king could claim it. The gulls turned back, the ravens did not, and we understood the difference between warning and destiny. Ravens over Frostfire Bay, guide our oars through the teeth of the morning. If death must know our names, let it hear them sung, not begged. Let the waves strike hard and find our courage harder. We were not born for warm walls and easy bread alone. We were carved by winter into men the storm would recognize. Ravens over Frostfire Bay, circle above us until the timid gods look down and learn respect. By noon the coast was gone and only water judged us fairly. The sky bent low with that northern look that promises no mercy. One of the younger men kissed a rune and hid the trembling badly. The oldest among us laughed and told him fear still rose well enough. I watched black wings resting on the thought of the horizon, as if Odin himself had sent to silence ahead of speech. There are voyages made for silver and voyages made for becoming. This one smelled like both, with blood already sleeping in the wind. If I fall, let it be where the cold keeps memory bright. If I live, let me return with a story sharpened by salt. The raven sees what the shore cannot, and the bay keeps every vow it hears. When the daylight turns against us, let the spear fly true and the heartbeat stay rough with purpose. Let the storm break first if something here must kneel. Our sons will learn our names from scars and songs alike. Our daughters will inherit the fire we carried over black water. Ravens over Frostfire Bay, when the shore is only memory, still lead us like a living prophecy. The sea kept roaring, the
Snow fell slowly over the broken field, as if the sky wished to hide what courage had cost us. Somewhere beyond the mist, a horse moved without touching earth, and my blood understood before my eyes did. I was born beneath a roof of pine and winter smoke, raised among women who stitched wounds as calmly as they sang. They taught me steel is not only held in the hand, sometimes it lives in the back, kept straight when grief arrives early. When the men rode east, I rode farther north in secret, following the rumor of battle like a star following darkness. I had dreamed for years of the shining dead and their escort, of maidens armored in light, choosing who would rise glorious. The Valkyrie keeps my name in the white fold of her feathered silence. The Valkyrie keeps my name like a flame no blizzard has the right to master. If I fall, let me fall where honor hears me clearly. If I stand, let me stand with the terrible beauty of the chosen. The Valkyrie keeps my name, and all my fear breaks open under her wings. By dusk the field had become a kingdom of steam and iron. Men called for mothers, for gods, for nothing at all. I moved between shield and shadow with frost in my lungs, and every strike I gave felt older than my own body. Then through the smoke she came like moonlight, giving armor. Her braid was bright as a winter river foam under stars. She did not speak, but the dead around me leaned toward her, as flowers lean toward a light they have remembered before blooming. Maybe glory is not shouting over the fallen. Maybe it is the calm with which the soul is gathered. Maybe the chosen are only those who can meet the end without turning their face away. To be fierce, I am no longer afraid of the horse that walks between worlds. The Valkyrie keeps my name, and in her keeping even death begins to shine. Snow covers the field,
of salt and iron, the torches never pitied us. Smoke climbed to the beams like old victories refusing sleep. The benches groaned with men, ale, hunger, laughter, scars. And every cup raised, there was part prayer, part challenge. Hey! Hey, hey, hey! Hey, hey, hey! Hey! I came in from the coast with frozen spray still on my cloak. My hands smelled the rope, seal fat, steel and hard weather. The king's men made space when they saw what the sea had left on me. Not kindness, never kindness, only the respect that blood negotiates. At the far end the scroll had begun a song about doomed fathers, the kind that makes even proud men stare deeper into fire. I sat with raiders, traders, oath breakers, turned holy by survival. And all of us drank as if the night itself was something to conquer. All assault and iron, where the loud boast dies and the true name remains. All assault and iron, where the weak lie beautifully and the strong lie less. Bring the horn, bring the scars, bring the sea-stained memory home. Let the women laugh sharp and the old men judge in silence. Of assault and iron, teach my heart to beat like a hammer on winter steel. A woman in wolfskin asked me whose lands I had crossed. I told her lands are many, but storms speak one language well. She smiled the smile of someone who keeps knives for truth, and said, then you belong here more than those born under this roof. Around us rose the talk of raids, of brothers buried eastward, of brides with bright eyes, of sons not yet hardened enough. Yet underneath the boasting moved another darker current, the knowledge that every feast is only temporary shelter from the gods. Ale warms the mouth, but not the fate beneath it. The hall is loud tonight because tomorrow may not be. Remember us when the roof beams crack with winter rage. All assault and iron. Remember which men laughed and which men listened. Hey, hey, hey. Let the scald carve us taller than fear and truer than rumor. Let the ash from the torches blacken our names into story. All assault and iron. If I die, let my echo keep drinking here. The cups went empty. Hey! The hall did not. Hey! Hey!
She touched the bone-white stones as if they could bruise from prophecy. The room was dark except for one narrow line of northern firelight. Outside the pines bent low under a patient moon. Inside, the future waited in her hands like a living animal. me never to ask the runes a careless question. They answer like winter answers fully and without apology. I learned young that love and war draw the same symbols differently, and that some names glow brighter only because they are near ending. Tonight I cast for a ship gone west beyond the whale road mist, for one whose laughter once made the longest nights bearable. The carved ash pieces fell like teeth from an old god's mouth, and every sign pointed toward return, but not unchanged. Runes beneath her fingertips, turning fate like hidden fire in frozen woods. Beneath her fingertips, whispering of loss, of longing, of roads that circle back wounded. I do not fear the truth, only the waiting between its syllables. I do not fear the gods, only how softly they rearrange the heart. Runes beneath her fingertips, burning colder than snow and brighter than mercy. I saw a raven, a broken mast, a hand still reaching shoreward. I saw a feast, hollow widow's braid, a sword washed clean in rain. I saw my own face, older by one grief and one season, yet still standing in the doorway when his footsteps crossed the yard. There are prophecies that wound immediately and prophecies that wait. This one entered me quietly, like ice entering the riverbank. He will return, said the pattern, but the sea will remain inside him. And I knew then love must prepare room for storms it did not make. The runes do not comfort, they reveal. Still I hold them close, because truth is a harsher kindness than hope alone. When a brave woman listens, the stones lay still. My pulse did not.
The moon came up red over the black pine ridge, and every old tale in the village stood up inside our bones. Dogs whined, children hushed, fires leaned low. The night had chosen its harsher face and wore it proudly. My grand Some moons are not for lovers or sleeping. Some are forged for hunting, vengeance, and no debts returned. That night I sharp my father's axe without polishing it first, because truth comes rougher when the sky begins to bleed. The men gathered silent, fur-bound, iron cold and watchful. No boasting now, only breath and leather and sharpened patience. Beyond the ridge a rival clan had crossed what should stay sacred, and the red moon made every insult feel chosen by the gods themselves. When the wolf moon rises red, no oath stays quiet and no wound stays buried. When the wolf moon rises red, the blood remembers things of daylight. Try to civilize, run with me through the frost where fear learns its proper master. Strike with me till the dark itself recoils from our names. When the wolf moon rises red, even the gods lean closer to hear the iron speak. We crossed the snow in a line like hunger-given weapons. Our boots made the kind of rhythm graves have heard before. Ahead the enemy fire snapped between the trees like taunting teeth. Behind me one young fighter whispered a prayer to suffer Thor. I told him keep your breath for battle, let your swing be worship, and he nodded with that pale look. All first killings where then the ridge broke open into shouting shields and hard by panic, and the red moon watched from above like judgment with no eyelid. The wolf is not cruel, only certain. The moon is not evil, only revealing. Hey, hey, hey. Can hear it ring. When the wolf moon rises red, meet the blade like a man already known by story. If I fall, let the snow remember the heat of my refusal. If I live, let the dawn find me less afraid than yesterday. When the wolf moon rises red, the night itself becomes a battlefield worth surviving. Morning came pale. The moon had fed.
The tide climbed silver along the keel, while dawn stayed undecided. A thin mist moved over the fjord like breath over polished glass. She stood alone at the waterline, with her braid against her shoulder, and sang to the Longship as if wood could carry tenderness to war. I built no shield wall, I sailed no raid, I wear no king's reward. Yet every voyage takes a piece of me. The sea does not return unchanged. My husband laughs with the men as though the oars were only music. But I have heard the night creak open around these departures before. I know the sound of rope pulled tight by hands pretending calm. I know the look men wear when courage must stand in for certainty. So I sing not to stop him, never that, for love is not a tether. I sing so the ship may remember the shore that made him human. She sings to the Longship, carry him fierce, but carry him home if the gods leave room. She sings to the Longship, past whale road darkness and the teeth of foreign water. Let the mast keep my name in the grain through thunder. Let the sail taste my breath when the northern rain turns cool. She sings to the Longship, because sometimes song must guard what hands cannot reach. The other women gather, but give me silence as a kindness. Each has buried something already, child, husband, brother, certainty. We watch the hull drift farther into the iron-colored morning, till men become shapes and shapes become memory too soon. Still I keep singing into the widening cold between us, a low old melody my mother sang to the dead and the departing. Not as surrender, never surrender, but as a woven promise that what is loved on shore remains a fire against the seas, forgetting. Go where honor calls you, but do not forget softness. Even wolves return to the den, and even iron rusts without love. Less hungry, the ship grew small, my song did not.
Smoke rose through the rafters, like the souls of unfinished boasts. Outside, the stars watched coldly through the opening above the hearth. The mead was bitter tonight, though no one named the reason. And the hall wore grief the way a warrior wears mail beneath fur. Three benches stood empty, where brothers should have been laughing. No one moved to fill them, not from honor, not from fear. The skull began a song and stopped after the first hard image, because some wounds reject beauty when they are still too fresh. I drank from a horn carved by one of the dead when he was younger. The rim struck my mouth like memory, sharpened by smoke. There are nights when victory enters, limping and ashamed, and tonight even the torches seemed unwilling to call us glorious. Ashes in the mead hall sky, falling where the laughter used to gather strongest. Ashes in the mead hall sky, turning every boast to prayer and every cup to witness. We return with silver, yes, but left our brightness on the road. We return with songs, yes, but some voices will not join them. Ashes in the mead hall sky, teach us how to feast without betraying the dead. A widow crossed the floor, carrying bread she did not taste. Her child held tightly to her skirt, as if cloth could stop absence. The king himself looked smaller in the orange of the firelight, because no ruler grows tall enough to command fate backward. One old man said the gods collect young courage greedily. Another said no men do, and call the bargain noble afterward. I kept my silence, for both lines felt born of truth, and the ash kept drifting down like quiet judgment from above. We praise the fallen because we must. We envy them a little because they are beyond fear now. In the mead hall sky, settle on our braids, our cups, our stubborn living shoulders. Ashes in the mead hall sky, remind us what the feast is keeping back from sorrow. Tomorrow we will hammer shields and sharpen steel again, but tonight let grief sit openly beside us at the table. Ashes in the mead hall sky, even in mourning the hall remembers how to sing. The rafters held smoke, the heart held names. The sea had thrown white fire across the black rocks by evening, and we stood there between tide and twilight like two unanswered runes.
No priest blessed us, no king named us, no witness but the gods remained. Yet the whole north felt near enough to hear our hearts changing.
I came ashore with salt in my beard and a winter in my chest.
I waded through 3 seasons and learned the language of missing.
I thought the sea had hardened me past gentle things.
I thought the shore had taught me never to trust return.
But then your eyes found the old road into my unguarded self,
And all the walls I built from patience loosened like thawing ice.
We stood where the foam touched our boots, like a blessing from no temple,
and felt the gods step back just far enough to let love happen. Fate wove us in railroad foam,
threading your breath through mine with the hands of the unseen.
Fate wove us in railroad foam,
where the sea keeps secrets and still could not hide this from us.
let the tides be gold, names around our ankles. Let the moon make silver vows on the dark skin of the water. Fate wove us in railroad foam, and even the cold turned softer to watch it happen.
I touched the scar beside your hand and knew the sea had argued with you.
I touched the braid at your shoulder and knew time had not defeated beauty.
You smelled of tar, cedar, storms, and distant fire.
You smelled of pine smoke, woven wool, and a home I had earned poorly.
We laughed once, quietly, as though afraid to wake the night.
Then spoke of ordinary things, because love often enters wearing simple words.
Will you leave again, I asked, and hated how the wind carried it.
Only if destiny is crueler than this shore, I said, and hoped it heard me.
Perhaps the Norns are kinder sometimes. Perhaps they tire of cutting only sorrow. Perhaps this one bright knot in the thread was tied for us before we were born. For holding us.
If winter comes, we will keep a fire that remembers summer skin.
If war comes,
we will hide each other's names beneath courage. Fate wove us in railroad foam, and the sea for once gave something back. Night closed slowly. We remained.
The omen came hard, not as mist, not as dream, not as mercy. A spear split the training post before dawn had fully risen. The raven shouted from the roof beam till every sleeper woke uneasy. And the one-eyed god kept his counsel in the shape of violence. My father used to say Odin rarely courts the soft heart at first. He takes the hungry, the haunted, the men half made by war already. So when the spear stood quivering in the frost-black wood, I knew the All-Father had looked my way, and not for comfort. The village priest muttered prayers over smoke and pine resin. My mother said nothing, only tied my wrist with a blue thread. I would have preferred a storm, a dream, but no, the sign was iron and daylight, and impossible to misunderstand. Odin sent no gentle sign, only ravens, ash, and a spear that would not stop shaking. Odin sent no gentle sign, only the terrible honor of being noticed by the High One. If wisdom cost an eye, what then does courage cost a son? If glory fills Valhalla, who then fills the empty chair at home? Odin sent no gentle sign, and still I followed, because some callings feel older than fear. By afternoon I had sharpened every blade I trusted fully. By evening I had walked the field where men learned dying angles. The old warrior smiled, that tight smile given to marked youth. Part pity, part pride, part memory of their own first summoning. One told me, do not ask the gods to spare you, ask them to witness well. Another said, gods witness everything and spare nothing, so swing clean. I carried both sayings like stones in the same pocket, and the ravens never left the roofline till night had swallowed us whole. A gentle sign could be ignored, this one could not. The God who seeks the slain does not knock softly. The hand that finally throws it true. Let the raven carry upward whatever remains of my doubt. Odin sent no gentle sign, only destiny with the bark torn off its voice. The post still shook. So did I.
After the battle, the field looked almost holy in its silence. Snow fell clean over filth, as if the north could forgive anything visible. Broken shields made dark islands in the white, and the wind moved through them like a widow too tired to weep aloud. I walked where husbands, sons, and brothers had finished speaking, carrying linen, hot water, and the useless hope that someone still breathed. There is a moment after slaughter when the world turns strangely careful, as though even the ravens sense they should land more quietly. I knelt beside one face I knew from summer harvest laughter, now pale and still with ice in the beer that once held breadcrumbs from feast nights. I closed his eyes because mothers should not see the sky living there, and spoke his name 3 times so the snow would learn it properly. The snow remembers the slain long after the horns are quiet and the kings have chosen new quarrels. The snow remembers the slain, holding their shapes in white until the spring dares interrupt. Do not tell me glory only, I have washed its face too often. Do not tell me honor only, I have buried it with warm hands. The snow remembers the slain, and I remember the men beneath the legend. A boy not yet bearded clutched a charm in his frozen fingers. An old man lay smiling as if he had recognized someone kind at the end. One had no wound I could see, only the look of being done with all striving. Another still held grass uprooted during his final refusal to kneel. Around us the white kept falling with terrible patience, covering rank and boasting equally, making brothers of the broken. I thought then perhaps the earth is wiser than the halls of rulers, for it receives all men in silence and ranks none by the songs they paid for. I am not against courage, I am against forgetting the cost of it. The snow knows both names, hero and son. Cannot strip them bare. I will speak them low beside the fire till my own hair turns silver. The snow remembers the slain, so let the living remember too. The field turned, their names did not. They dressed me not in morning black, but in winter white and silver, as if beauty might bargain with sorrow if worn correctly. Outside the hall, the men spoke of alliances, dowries, future peace. Inside I stared at the broken spear laid across the threshold for blessing. He was not the man I loved first beneath the birchwood summer, that one lies somewhere east where the crows know his ribs by heart. This man is kind, they tell me, and kindness is rare enough to honor, but kindness does not erase the ghost of another hand at mine. Still I rise when the elder calls and cross the rust-strewn floor, for women in our world learn early how duty braids itself with longing. I do not go unwilling, only divided by memory and necessity. A bride with two histories hidden beneath one carefully lowered gaze. Bride of the broken spear, walking into peace with war still stitched beneath her heart. Bride of the broken spear, crowned in silver while the old wound keeps its own secret fire. Let the vows be strong enough to shelter what remains of me. Let this man be gentle with the rooms grief still occupies. Bride of the broken spear, even love can begin beside what it did not hear. He took my hand with the caution of someone lifting sacred metal, and in that touch I felt no conquest, only patience and strange mercy. He said, I know I come after sorrow, I do not ask to replace it. That line entered me deeper than all the priest's blessings combined. Around us horns were raised, the hall approved, the mothers watched closely, the children tossed herbs into the fire for fruitfulness and luck. I looked once at the broken spear and thought, perhaps it means this too, that what has snapped in battle may yet point the way toward another life. A heart can keep ashes and still make room for flame. A woman can remember one name and still answer another tenderly. The shape of truth. Bride of the broken spear, tonight even sorrow wears a silver edge worth trusting. The spear stayed broken, I did not.
There are weapons made by smiths and weapons made by weather. Mine was born where mountain thunder answered iron with its own name. Its edge slept dark by the hearth through 2 full winters, waiting for the hand and the battle fit to wake it properly. Messenger rode in under sleet. His horse was white with foam and fear, and did not want the yard. The border had been crossed, he said, and not by men worth bargaining with. Then all the old heat rose rose in me like hail catching sudden fire. I wrapped the haft in fresh leather from a stag I hunted last autumn. Kiss the steel once, not from superstition, but from respect. A good axe is not a tool, not in the north, not in a feud. It is an argument carried in oak and iron to its final sentence. Thunder sleeps in the axe till the wrist turns and the sky inside it breaks free. Thunder sleeps in the axe till bone, shield and pride remember the truth of weight. Call no weak god to stand between me and the swing. Call no soft law to cool what the blood has decided. Sleeps in the axe, and tonight I am the storm, trusted to wake it. On the ridge the enemy line looked brave from a distance. Only up close I saw boys' fear painted, boasting, and a chief too certain. The first shield I struck rang like a temple split by winter. The second gave way ugly, and the third learned to fear my shoulder. Around me rose the old soundsmen, cursing horses, breaking spears. Singing above me rolled real thunder, as if Thor approved the craft below. I do not remember every face, only force, impact, breath, and red snow. Battle is less poem than hammer, but sometimes the hammer becomes song. Axe in the hand, storm in the arm, when thunder chooses wood and iron. A man becomes weather briefly. If I fall, let another sun wake the sky from within its edge. Thunder sleeps in the axe, but tonight it spoke my language fluently. The storm moved on. The axe stayed warm.
Where the root drinks darkness and the tide drinks moonlight.
There is a place no map keeps, but every dream remembers.
I met you there between Yggdrasil and the sea,
where even the wind seemed older than speech and kinder than kings.
I came through a pinewood path still wet with morning shadows.
I came from the harbor with tar on my sleeve and salt on my lips.
I had heard the old tree hum in my sleep for 7 nights.
I had watched the gulls wheel south and taken it as an omen of turning.
You stood beneath the branches like a man returned from a saga.
You stood by the roots like a prayer the earth had shaped for itself.
Neither of us smiled at first, because wonder is often solemn.
But the world around us had already begun to soften toward love.
Between Yggdrasil and the sea,
we found a silence larger than fear,
and sweeter than certainty. Between Yggdrasil and the sea,
where roots know the underworld and waves know
every departure.
Let the Norns tread one bright mercy through our
separate winters.
Let the branches keep our promise higher than rumor can climb.
Between Yggdrasil and the sea, even the gods seemed willing to leave us untested for an hour.
I told you the sea had taken from me more than silver ever returned.
I told you the earth had made me patient, but not untouched by sorrow.
Your hand brushed bark and mine brushed yours,
by accident or fate.
In the north, those are not always
different things. Above us, ravens move like black thoughts across pale blue distance.
Below us, the roots held stories older
than any scald could finish. If I choose you, I said, I choose the sea that lives inside you too. If I choose you, I said, I choose the roots that keep you standing in winter. Love in our land is not soft by nature. It is shelter built against weather. The stronger the storm beyond it, the more sacred the fire within.
We stood where all roads inward and outward seemed to meet.
Yggdrasil and the sea, and chose each other while the old world listened without objection.
If war calls you, return by the roots of this memory.
If grief calls me, I will answer from the warmth of this hour. Between Yggdrasil and the sea, our names grew quietly into something worth keeping. The tide withdrew, the tree remained. Night hung low over the hut of woven bone and birch. The sky was so clear, the stars looked close enough to bruise the tongue. She lit no great fire, only one blue flame in a stone bowl, and waited till the silence itself bent closer. They bring me kings when dreams become too sharp to ignore. They bring me mothers when suns go west and ravens gather early. They bring me charms, amber, silver questions dressed as offerings. But truth does not care what tribute trembles in a human hand. Tonight I drank the bitter herbs and looked up through the smoke hole, till the constellations loosened and began to move like runes in Thor. There are doors in the mind no sober foot should kick open casually, yet some of us were born with keys hidden under the heart. The seer restrains the stars and sees the ships before the harbor does. The seer restrains the stars and tastes the bloodline turning toward its next sorrow. Do not ask me only for comfort, I was not chosen for sweetness. Do not ask me only for tomorrow, I see the root beneath it too. The seer restrains the stars and the heavens burn cold inside her throat. I saw a king with frost in his beard kneel to no living enemy. I saw his grandson drown in praise and call it destiny too late. I saw a girl in wolfskin bear 3 names before she died once. I saw the bridge of God's blaze bright as bone at world ending hour, and through it all the stars kept turning without pity or preference, as they have since before our first spear learned the joy of flight. When I woke, my hands were blackened by a soot no flame had made, and the women outside knew from my face the answer would cost them sleep. The sky is beautiful, not kind. The future is visible, not negotiable. The seer restrains the stars, so speak your question carefully before the bowl grows still. Restrains the stars and returns with night folded beneath her eyelids like a map. I have seen halls burn, lovers part, suns rise, wolves feed, worlds tilt. Still the heavens remain bright with the same indifferent fire. The seer restrains the stars and carries their cold wisdom back for mortals to survive. The bow went dark, the stars did not.
In our village, even the blades are spoken to before battle. Steel does not sail from the fjord as mere metal in a hand. It leaves with a name, a temper, and a witness in the forge smoke. For what goes to war unnamed returns, too easy to forget. The smith was broad as the doorway, and twice as difficult to hurry. He heated the ingot till it looked like sunset, trapped in a wound. Then struck and turned and struck again, while sparks climbed like spirits. Each blow answered by the mountain, with a low approving hum. I watched beside him, hardly breathing through the burning noise. This sword was for my first true raid, and knew it before I did. He said, choose well, boy, for the name becomes half the fate. And I thought of wolves, storms, fathers, and all the things men borrow strength from. No sword leaves the fjord unnamed, not if it hopes to drink battle and still be remembered cleanly. No sword leaves the fjord unnamed. Name is the fire beneath the edge, and the ghost beside the wielder. Call it for thunder, call it for winter, call it for the eye of a god, but call it something worthy of the blood it may be forced to learn. No sword leaves the fjord unnamed, and no man should either. At last he quenched the blade in water black with pine ash. Steam rose thick as a veil over a bride too dangerous to touch barehanded. I laid my palm near, not on, and whispered, storm, take her to the steel. The smith nodded once, which from him was nearly a blessing song. Around us boys still played outside with sticks and false bravery. Inside I crossed the threshold toward the older fraternity of consequence. My mother would kiss my brow that night and pretend not to fear the name. My father would grin and say, now earn it, where shields ring honestly. A name is not decoration, it is burden and promise. Still remembers the mouth that first called it away. Can follow without lying. No sword leaves the fjord unnamed, so let mine come home red, true, and still worthy of the forged smoke. If it breaks, let it break in the middle of refusal. If I fall, let another hand speak, storm taker with respect. No sword leaves the fjord unnamed, because memory begins before battle does. The blade cooled dark, its name stayed bright.
Mist lay white over the stones like breath over a mirror of death. No bird crossed that hour, no branch moved, no fire dared boost. I walked where the old stories say grief thins the worlds apart, and called your name into the cold between them. They told me not to seek the dead with a living tongue after moonrise, that hell keeps what enters sorrow's gate with a jealous patience. But I had buried too much youth beneath too many cairns already to believe obedience was holier than longing on a night like this. Your ring hung at my throat, warm only from the heat of my own skin. Your last promise had been simple: wait for me when the snows turn. Now 3 snows had passed, and still the earth beneath me knew no mercy. So I followed the mist northward, till even my shadow refused to come farther. Her voice across Niflheim mist, carrying love where even sunlight does not bargain. Across Niflheim mist, searching the frost for the shape of one unfinished goodbye. If the dead can hear, let them hear tenderness before tears. If the lost can answer, let them answer through the wind at least. Her voice across Niflheim mist was all the warmth the underworld received that night. Then from the whiteness came no body, only a change in the silence. The kind of woman knows when the beloved enters a room unseen. I heard no full sentence, only my name and the sound of breathing remembered. Yet my knees gave way as if his hands had touched me from another law of being. He said, not in words but in certainty live, and it nearly broke me. For grief prefers devotion frozen, not the cruelty of continued life. Still I rose with ice in my lashes and a strange calm in my chest, as though farewell finally spoken can become a bridge instead of a wound. Love reaches farther than road or sail, but even love must turn back before becoming a ghost itself. Niflheim mist, and the cold for once gave something back. The mist closed slowly, I walked home warmer.
The storm had cracked the mountain path and flooded half the valley. So of course we feasted harder, because what else should northerners do?
Ale foamed gold under torchlight, while thunder rolled above the roof.
And someone laughed that Thor had spilled his cup across the sky again. I came in soaked from the ridge, with rain in my beard and no patience for sleep.
I came from the brew room carrying casks and the power to ruin restraint.
The benches were already loud with hunters and scalds and liars,
which is to say, a proper crowd for a storm-blessed night.
I saw you slam a mug down like a challenge to heaven itself.
I saw you grin at lightning as if it were your drinking brother.
thunder beat the roof with open palms,
and somewhere in the rafters,
even the smoke looked amused. We drank from Thor's broken cup,
while the sky poured fury and the hall answered with laughter.
drank from Thor's broken cup,
Till the table shook like shields before a happy charge.
bring the mead, bring the noise, bring the bold-eyed girls and reckless boys.
Let the storm outside learn what a northern feast can sound like,
Drank from Thor's broken cup,
and call that thunder good company. Old Gunnar tried to sing and forgot which war he'd won first.
young Eric boasted twice as loud because he'd not yet lost enough.
The cook threw bones at both and saved the rhythm of the room.
The skald stole the whole thing for a verse before the foam settled.
You pulled me down beside you with one arm and no permission needed.
I stole your cup and drank where your mouth had warmed the rim.
If Thor himself walked in, I said he'd owe us one more barrel.
If Thor walked in, I said,
He'd ask you for your seat and smile first.
there are nights for battle and nights for becoming legend in smaller ways.
A cup raised high can be as holy as a blade held true.
We drank from Thor's broken cup,
Till dawn stood pale outside and still could not outshine
drank
us.
from Thor's broken cup,
Till strangers became brothers and glances became promises.
if storms must come, let them find us singing louder than their anger.
If gods must judge, let them judge all alive with fearless joy.
We drank from Thor's broken cup,
And left the morning jealous of the night. The rain kept falling,
so did the cheers. Evening laid gold across the shield rims one last time, as if the sun wished to remember us handsome before the ruin began. The line stood tight, breath clouding, boots set in blood-dark mud. And somewhere behind the ridge the enemy gathered like weather with intent. I could hear my own heart under the leather straps and iron rings. Not fast, not wild, only sure in the way a final hour becomes. To my left stood the man who saved me once on the whale road crossing. To my right, a boy whose beard had only just begun, arguing with his face. None of us spoke much because words had become expensive here. We checked shield edge, spear weight, footing, sky, and each other's eyes. Then the horn sounded once, low and long as a doorway opening, and all the daylight left in the world seemed to gather on our wall. Last light on the shield wall, hold while the sun still sees us standing as one body. Last light on the shield wall, burn on our eye until the darkness learns our shape. If we break, let it be forward, never inward, never begging. If we fall, let us fall where the brave can still hear each other breathe. Last light on the shield wall, make men of us greater than fear for one more hour. they came with shouting first, because shouting is cheap before impact. Then came the real language, wood against wood, steel against oath, bone against chance. My spear found one throat and then another shield pushed hard into me. Mud climbed my greaves, blood warmed my hand, and the line bent but held. I lost sight of the sun and trusted only the wall of shoulders near me. Trusted the grunt to my left, the curse to my right, the shove against my back. Battle shrinks the world till our philosophy becomes footwork and refusal. Yet somewhere in that crush I felt something clean, the dignity of not yielding. The wall is not wood alone, it is memory, brotherhood, and chosen stance. The last light does not save us, it witnesses fear marched behind duty and not ahead of it. I was mortal, yes, but mortality itself seemed nobler in formation. Last light on the shield wall, go down only after we have earned the night. The sun sank red